Another story that we continue to monitor right now, the city issuing trespass notices, or they're moving in on the trespass notices at an encampment for the second straight day. So let's bring you to a live look. This is Lamport Stadium. There are between 50 to 60 people who are experiencing homelessness and where they currently live. So the city's saying that all individuals will be offered alternative accommodations. Advocates saying that these encampments offer safe places for people to live. Let's talk about what we've seen in the previous days, weeks, and what is happening today. Joining me now, Brad Ross, the city's Chief Communications Officer. Brad, good morning. Thank you for joining today.
Good morning, Mom.
Let's talk about what's going on today. Initially, it said there were, 14 to 17 people who might be experiencing homelessness at Lamport. That number looks like there are much more. What is happening today?
Well, I think the numbers that you're seeing there on the ground on your live look is a number of supporters and people who perhaps intend to protest, which is their right, of course. But yeah, we estimate anywhere between 14 to 17 people who are actual encampment occupants at this park. And today we are going to enforce the trespass notice that was posted there on June the 12th. As we've continued to engage with people living in encampments, including this one at Lamport, to encourage them to come inside where it is safer, where it is healthier, where they get the supports that they may need, including, and this is important, access to a housing worker so that we can get housing for people, supportive housing, permanent housing, and where they will have much greater success in staying housed when we provide them the supports like the harm reduction that we can provide in supportive housing, for example, and then in shelters in the hotel program. They have access to meals and to laundry and to harm reduction and other supports that they don't have in an encampment. Our shelters have been free of COVID for a number of weeks now. We have significant infection prevention and control measures in those shelters, and our vaccine efforts amongst those experiencing homelessness continues to grow.
Brad, if this looks like deja vu for a lot of people when we talk about Lamport Stadium, it's because it was back in May that we saw the clearing of an encampment as well. Now, is this related? Are there individuals who have just stayed? Are there individuals who've put tents back up, structures? So these are the visuals back in May when things got very tense. What can you tell us about what we saw here in these visuals and what we're going to see today and the individuals involved?
Well, what we saw in May was, unfortunately, protesters who became violent, who interfered with our efforts to actually provide safe indoor accommodation to individuals. So we, for public safety reasons, we left that site in May and regrouped. And today, and the reason why we see the support that we're going to have from the Toronto Police Service, should it be required, to ensure that we can conduct this enforcement safely. The safety of the encampment occupants and the safety of the city crews and the safety of the public. As I say, people absolutely have a right to protest, but it cannot become violent. They cannot interfere with our efforts to home and house people safely. And so that's when the police will assist us with that support, should it be required. That was something that in May that we went in there with all the right intentions, but unfortunately it turned violent. And so for public safety reasons, we backed that day, and we're back today to ensure that we can do this safely and peacefully.
Brad, I want to get one more question in there. It looks like your signal's breaking up a little bit, but I want to ask you, what is the long game here? Because as you mentioned here, I know the city saying that you're offering a number of services and not just the accommodations, but we don't want to, if this is the case, if people are looking to set up camp at these spaces, if they are being taken from these spaces or moved from these spaces, you want to be able to offer them a safe location moving forward, not to go back. So if that happens, though, are we just going to keep on seeing these? Are we going to look at Alexandra Park and, in 3 weeks' time from now and see the same scene? Are we going to go back to Moss Park and see potentially breaking up where it had been cleared? So what is the long game?
The long game, Melanie, is housing. That is the long game, and that is the city's plan, and that is what the city is actually well engaged in and embarked on is housing, supportive housing. Modular housing that we continue to build, a housing plan that will see affordable housing and a number of pieces of that, supportive transitional housing that allow people to come in off the street and to be housed over time, in terms of when I say over time, permanently, so that they don't fall back into going onto the street, so that they have a housing option that has the supports they need, whether it's through harm reduction, income supports, so that they can be successful in their housing and not then return to an encampment where it is unhealthy and it is unsafe. And frankly, camping in parks is illegal, and parks, as we all know, need to be safe and accessible to all.
Brad, before you go, very quickly, are we expecting more encampments to be cleared in the coming days?
We are focused today on Lamport Stadium. We are focused every day on engaging with people who are experiencing homelessness more than 20,000 times since the start of this pandemic, to encourage people to come inside where they have those supports, where it is safer and where it is healthier.
Okay, Brad Ross with the City of Toronto. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
7:12 is what we're sitting at right now. We're going upstairs to Dina and Sid. Good morning, guys.